Hi, it's TK with the weekly words of encouragement. One of my biggest pet peeves is selfishness, especially when I see someone behaving in a way that clearly impacts others and that person just continues to focus on self. When I see others who are only concerned about themselves, I get super annoyed. And then something happens, and suddenly there's a mirror in front of me so I can see my own tendencies towards selfishness. It's frightening how selfish we can all be. Selfishness is ingrained in our sinful human nature, so we have to actively work to be selfless in a selfish world. Selfishness is very prevalent in our society. We see examples on TV, on social media, and in real life, likely in our own homes and in our own mirrors. The Merriam-Webster online dictionary defines selfish as concerned excessively or exclusively with oneself, seeking or concentrating on one's own advantage, pleasure, or well-being without regard for others. This definition hits the nail on the head. Selfish people disregard the interests of others in favor of their own. To be clear, I don't consider it selfish to implement necessary self-care routines or to establish needed boundaries with toxic people. Rather, I'm talking about a pattern of being concerned only about self, to the exclusion of others. Selfishness may manifest in a number of ways, such as lying, jealousy, envy, gossip, sexual immorality, anger, selfish ambition, pride, impatience, theft, even murder. We see selfishness from the beginning of human history. Genesis chapter 3, verse 6 tells us that Eve saw that the tree was beautiful and its fruit looked delicious, and she wanted the wisdom it would give her. So she took some of the fruit and ate it. Listening to the serpent, she was convinced that having knowledge of good and evil was what she wanted, so she acted on that desire. She selfishly sought her own advantage, wisdom, and her own pleasure. The fruit looked delicious. She chose to disregard God's command to not eat the fruit because she was selfish. She wanted what she wanted, and we're still suffering the consequences of her selfishness. There are so many other examples of selfishness throughout the Bible, such as King David taking Bathsheba with no regard for her or her husband, or Jesus' disciples, James and John, and their mother, who selfishly asked for seats of honor in Jesus' kingdom. And I'm sure we could identify similar examples in our own lives. People we know who are concerned primarily about themselves without regard for others. Rather than succumbing to our natural tendency towards selfishness, Christ followers are called to be selfless. In Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4, we read, "Don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble, thinking of others as better than yourselves. Don't look out only for your own interests, but take an interest in others too." We see an example of this selflessness in Jesus' teaching on loving our neighbors in the same way we love ourselves. In response to a question asking, "Who is our neighbor?" Jesus shares the parable of the Good Samaritan, and you can find this recorded in Luke chapter 10, verses 30 through 37. In this parable, a Jewish man was traveling when he was attacked by bandits and left for dead. As the man was lying in the road, a priest saw him but decided to cross to the other side. Next, a Levite or temple assistant passed by And like the priest, he crossed to the other side of the road. Then a despised Samaritan came along and saw the beaten man lying there on the road. The Samaritan felt compassion for the man, so he stopped and nursed the man's wounds. But he didn't stop there. The Samaritan put the man on his donkey and took him to an inn to further care for his needs. And before leaving the inn, the Samaritan gave the innkeeper money to continue caring for the man's needs. Luke chapter 10, verses 36 and 37 record that after telling this parable, Jesus asks, "Now, which of these three would you say was a neighbor to the man who was attacked by bandits?" Jesus asked. The man replied, "The one who showed him mercy." Then Jesus said, "Yes, now go and do the same." This Samaritan man was on his way somewhere, but he stopped his journey to help someone in need. Unlike the priest and the Levite, he didn't cross the road to avoid the man lying there, left for dead. We should follow the example of the Good Samaritan and take advantage of opportunities to be selfless, putting the needs of others ahead of our own. As a final note, this holiday season may be very challenging for some people. Lots of us struggle with depression and sadness during this time of year. So I encourage you, as you enjoy the holidays, be selfless towards those around you. Reach out to them to let them know they are loved. Reach out to that family who lost a loved one this year, that single parent whose kids will be away for the holiday, that military family whose service member is deployed and can't return home for the holidays. Send an encouraging text message or mail a gift card or send them flowers. Just do something to let them know that you care. I pray you have a blessed week and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.